Immortal. What does that word truly mean? Does it mean living forever? Living youthfully forever? Being remembered forever? Regardless of the definition, we all tie back to one thing: time. The river that always flows and can never be frozen. The one resource you can never get back. Time. The subject of songs, poetry, mythology, and religions throughout all of human history. Time. The secret we humans, above all others, want to understand. Time. Our world is governed by ticking clocks. They tell us when to wake up, when to work, when to sleep, eat, relax, enjoy ourselves, and repeat. These ticking clocks structure how we dress in the seasons, how we dress throughout the day, and how we approach life. These ticking clocks structure nearly every single part of our lives and influence all the critical decisions we make within it. A few weeks ago, I went for a run. It was a late winter morning here in central Utah. The air was crisp, the sky was blue, and the sun gleamed off the white coat covering the mountains surrounding me. After stretching for a bit, I took a breath and began my run. I ran down my usual trail, through the forest, over the bridge, above the highway, and into the woods. While usually rocky and peppered with leaves, my trail was now covered in a thin layer of ice and snow that crunched under my feet with each step. After I got to my spot, I made a sharp left towards a tree line which would open up to a clearing with a large lake in the middle. I'd run by this lake hundreds of times, and each and every time it had some new surprises for me. This time, when I stopped and looked at the lake, I noticed something I hadn't seen before. Near the top of the lake, there were some plants sticking out of the frozen water that were completely frozen over and gently swaying in the cool winter breeze. This same plant, only a few months before, was swaying in the autumnal wind surrounded by life and activity. Now frozen in time to a lake devoid of this activity, this life. Is this what it means to be immortal? Being stuck in a frozen prison, unable to feel the effects of time? On my way back from Salt Lake City, I decided to stop here, the Museum of Ancient Life at Thanksgiving Point. I've always been fascinated with dinosaurs, ancient life, and how things came to be the way they are. So I decided to stop, pull over, and head in to explore. As you go through the exhibits, you're shown scene after scene, display after display, of things that have come and gone. Starting with the Hadean period from 4.6 to 4 billion years ago, you see a hellish landscape all throughout the planet. Named after the Greek god of the underworld, this period in Earth's history truly lived up to its name as a place of pure death. Hellish rivers of lava carved up the young planet's surface as meteors and asteroids bombarded it. It was truly a hell on Earth, and a place completely inhospitable to life as we know it today. As the Earth's crust began to cool, we began to see glimpses of what would eventually turn into all the life that has ever existed and will ever exist on this planet. Small, simple, single-celled organisms began to take hold on the cooling rocky world and started the process of breathing life into it. Next, we have the Archean period from 4 billion to 2.5 billion years ago. Named after the Greek archaeos, meaning ancient, primitive, or origin, we start to see the true origin of life taking root on the planet. From the simple single-celled organisms found at the end of the Hadean, simple life began to flourish and explode in Earth's primordial seas. The fossils left behind from this period are called stromatolites, and they tell incredible stories of the conditions life overcame to start to take a foothold in the early years of the planet's history. In about 2.5 billion to 541 million years ago, the Archean transformed into the Proterozoic eon, the introduction of a particular type of organism would change the composition of the planet's atmosphere forever: cyanobacteria. These photosynthetic bacteria turn sunlight and the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere into oxygen in substantial amounts, changing the very nature of the planet's atmosphere permanently. This led to a mass extinction, wiping out a substantial portion of the anaerobic life on Earth at the time, but opened the door to a new type of life that was starting to come into its own: the eukaryotes. These multicellular life forms were starting to become increasingly complex, like the organisms Carnea and Dickinsonia, and they were setting the stage for the next chapter of Earth's history, the Phanerozoic Eon. Phanerozoic, the era and eon we live in today, the one that has been extensively studied by scientists throughout time. The age of dinosaurs, trees, woolly mammoths, and of course, humans. Breaking this eon down, we have three eras: Paleozoic, Mesozoic, and the Cenozoic. Starting with the end of the Proterozoic at the beginning of the Paleozoic, we have the Cambrian explosion. Here, life rapidly diversified from the simple single-celled organisms of earlier eras to more complex organisms like the trilobites, who could not only have specialized organs for specialized activities, but who also had specialized body plans that allowed them to move on their own, something which hadn't been seen before on Earth. These new changes brought about predator and prey dynamics, along with complex food webs that the world hadn't seen before, and kicked off the predator-prey evolutionary arms race that has defined life on Earth to this day. In the seas, the first jawless fish appeared on the scene with groups like ostracoderms. Hunting the seas while on land, the very first plants took root on the ancient soil. A little while later, in the Devonian period, we began to see trees take over the land, forming a canopy above which arthropods and the first amphibians roamed in the shallow waters on land, and the first four-limbed creatures, the tetrapods, had appeared on the scene. Furthermore, we continued to see an explosion in life in the seas with the first armored and jawed fish appearing in the scenes, along with the first reptiles and sharks. All of this nearly came to an end at the end of the Paleozoic, when a series of volcanic eruptions wiped out nearly 96% of marine species and 70% of terrestrial species, in what's known as the Permian-Triassic extinction event. This was the most destructive mass extinction in Earth's history. After that, though, came one of the most incredible periods in Earth's history, the Mesozoic era, the age of reptiles. Here's where we witness some of the most massive creatures to walk, swim, and fly in Earth's history. Thus began the age of the dinosaurs. They took over the land, sea, and sky, ruled everything through a number of mass extinction events for nearly 200 million years. Tyrannosaurs, ichthyosaurs, and pterosaurs dominated the sky, land, and sea until their reign was brought to an end with a boom. An asteroid from outer space landed to the Earth and released enough energy to vaporize the ocean around it and turn the solid rock where it landed into liquid magma in an instant. Over a period of years, nearly 75% of life on Earth lost its life as the Earth was plunged into yet another mass extinction event. While the age of the dinosaurs was over, this mass extinction event cleared the path for the dominance of a new and very familiar group of creatures, the mammals. Slowly but surely, they began to fill the niches the giants had left behind, going to the seas, taking over the land, and joining the sky. It took 63 million years, but about 10,000 years ago, one of these mammals, Homo sapien, using teamwork and technology, finally claimed dominance over all the other animals, establishing itself as the king of the earth, ushering a new age, our age, the Anthropocene, the age of man. The largest animals ever to walk, swim, and fly on this earth are now reduced to nothing but bones and dust that we admire in museums. In display after display, room after room, we watch empires rise and fall. Kings of the earth who had ruled it with an iron fist vanished in the blink of an eye. Kingdoms coming and going all over an extensive period of time. is truly sublime and gives perspective for our lives. No matter what we do and how we live our lives, we all turn to dust. From the ashes and dust of stars we came, into the ashes and dust will we return. At some point, we all turn to bones and dust. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Being evergreen, unchanging with time, forever young. I thought this is what I wanted, to be frozen out of time, living forever and experiencing everything until the end. But being evergreen, immortal, may be less of a blessing and more of a curse. When you're immortal, there's no reason to value anything. Time, money, experiences, life. To you, they are infinite. They come and they go, all in abundant quality throughout all of the rest of time. They can always be made and always be had. Everything loses meaning because at some point in time, it can be had or it can be done. It takes death, finality, to truly appreciate all that life has to offer. The cleaning out of the old and laying of the fertile soil for the new. Looking at those exhibits, it truly dawned on me. If those dinosaurs and their predecessors hadn't died, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be walking, talking, and thinking about the importance of life and death. Time, immortality, and their impact on one's perspective about their lives. It takes calamity, death, and destruction to lay the fertile soil for something different, something that could be better. Thinking about that, maybe it's not such a bad thing after all. One of my favorite songs, Evergreen by Bruce, has this one line that I absolutely adore. Since we found out that we're invincible, we've been living in a dream world. Since we decided to be infinite, there's no ending and there's no fear. With finality, one has a choice. They have a choice in how they'll live their one and only life. They can decide to be invincible, to be fearless, to be fearful, and with that choice, have a meaningful impact on the rest of their lives. They get to decide which paths they want to travel, with each path being truly unique and special for their lives. And the beauty of death is that remembering and knowing you will die forces one to make a choice on how they want to live their lives, and what they want to accomplish, see, and do before they die. Nearly 2,500 years ago, philosopher Lao Tzu said, "Life and death are one thread. They're the same line viewed from different sides. Without death, life has no meaning, no purpose. If everything can be done in infinite time, accomplishments lose their meaning. Love, time, everything loses its meaning. It takes the barrel of the gun of death pointed right in your face to truly understand and assign value to everything that's experienced in life." Since the beginning of time, man has been chasing time. The one thing that has separated man from God, time. The ability to control time, to see more time, to have more time. Time. It's the core of all our mythology, our science, our religions, our power structures, our economies, our lives. Controlling, extending, and harnessing the power of time. But I'd argue that to be human is to be temporary. To be human is to run out of time. To be human is to be stuck in the limbo between animal and God. To be human is to be a creature which acknowledges its own mortality and limitation, but fights to make every single second of that time as useful and meaningful as possible. be human is to die, to not be evergreen. Honestly, I think it's better that way.